Hey, what's up? JT Rubber City Motoring here. While the Impala is getting wrapped up, I think it's this close. I wanted to share this video. This is like a year ago. It's been sitting in my computer. I had the chance to drive that Ford Focus RS, this is the last model year currently. So I thought this was, a little bit out of date, but at the same time, it was kind of cool. I had just had the Subaru here, which is still here for, I don't know, 6 months or so, so I was kind of really in the mood to try this hot hatch. What was crazy is Ford was so locked down with this thing, they basically made us sign up a list to drive it. So I didn't know that, or I didn't really think, oh, somebody'd be waiting. So I'm sitting in there kind of screwing around. The Ford guy comes up, and you'll see it here. He's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm sorry, I just drove a Viper. I didn't think this thing was that big of a deal. So they were really locked down with it. Either way, it was pretty fun. So take this in. It was kind of a quick track drive. You can hear the exhaust popping. It's pretty slick though, so enjoy. Finally got into the Focus RS here. I love the flat bottom steering wheel. Not a fan of the shifter built into the console here. It's like in this stack thing. But yeah, not too bad. Alright, so we're in the Focus RS here. Flat bottom steering wheel. Shifters here, like I said, not my favorite thing, but it is what it is. Ford Sync, Sony radio, got some extra gauges up there. If you hear the exhaust there, let's see if I can do that again. A little bit of popping, that's kind of cool. So I'm going to mount the camera up here. I'm going to pick my driver mode. What's interesting, there's our drift mode, which they said don't do. We're going to put it in track use only. And I'm going to mount my camera up here and see how this does on the track. Before we go, I'm waiting right now. It does have this crazy start stop, and every time I just stop, it completely sits still, it just shuts off. And with a loud exhaust, it's really noticeable, which it feels weird to me. I'm curious if the aftermarket can disable that, because I don't like that. Because if I'm sitting here with my foot on the brake, it's in neutral, and let's see what happens if I push the clutch in. It kicks back on. Then when I let the clutch out, sit here a minute without moving, it kills. It just dies. I'm not a fan of that, but it sounds really neat. It's a nice exhaust. Like I was saying earlier, leg room back here, not much. Alright, I'm gonna mount the camera here and we're gonna go. Not sure if you can hear that, but that is the exhaust, which is really kind of cool. Torque steer. Okay, so as I'm pulling in here, because my time's about up in this car, I did find a button that turns off the automatic stopping. It feels So going off the whole like exclusivity and driving thing of this car, I had to get out of it pretty quick, so I didn't even get a chance to like park it and kind of, you know, give my final thoughts. Overall, it was a neat car. I thought it had a lot of little trick features. The exhaust you can hear a lot. The seats were slick. You know, all-wheel drive is always a plus for being in Ohio. But my God, it's like $40-some thousand new, and it's a Focus. That's the one thing that's just like, ugh. It's very similar to the STI here in that it is a very expensive, high-performance version of an economy car. And I loved it. It was a really neat car, but I would have loved it for like, you know, high 20s, maybe 30 grand. And they're going to be out there used coming up, and you know, have read about the engine failures and the gasket failures and that whole deal, which they've remedied, but at the same time, it's expensive for a Focus. And on top of it too, it did feel smaller inside than my STI here. But you know, for Ohio driving, all-wheel drive, year-round performance, trackable, had neat seats inside of it, good features, and it also had room for your kids and your junk in the back for the most part. Pretty cool car from Ford. It's kind of a shame they're getting rid of it, but you know, they do look neat driving down the road. So if you have one of these, major props to you on that car. It looks just mean for a Focus, and I was glad to drive one just for that short period of time. So all right, hope you enjoyed that. See you later.